Color guard, post the colors.
Detail, forward, march.
If you'll now join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now I'd like to introduce Bill Lafferty. Bill.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free, and the home of the brave.
Great. Okay.
Get away. Get
Wait a
away.
minute. Okay, Billy, that was great in the middle of snow. Thank you. In September at our dinner, it's a lot easier. Would you please welcome our Veterans Chaplain and Police Chaplain to give us an invocation, Rabbi Harry Pell.
Thank you, and my honor to be here. I'm Rabbi Harry Pell. I have the honor of serving at the LaFell School as the Associate Head of School, and also as a chaplain for the Greenburgh Police Department and the Hartsdale Fire Department locally. But before all that, I served in the U.S. Navy as a chaplain for 13 years to our sailors, our Marines, our Coast Guardsmen, and also to soldiers and airmen. And I offer the following prayer on this Veterans Day with the men and women of our armed services in mind. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu, our God and God of all of our ancestors, we ask your blessing for the men and women of the United States Armed Forces who serve to protect our country at home and around the world. We call to mind not only all of those serving in uniform today, but today, on Veterans Day, we call to mind especially those who have served our country with honor, courage, and commitment, and who have taken off the uniform and returned to civilian life. And yet we know that in many ways, our veterans can take off the uniform, but they can never leave their years of service behind. They can never forget the sacrifices that they endured in serving our country, the long stretches of time away from home and away from family and friends. They'll never forget the injuries sustained, physical and emotional. And in many cases, they cannot forget the brothers and sisters in arms who never made it home. Our veterans can never forget that, any of that, and therefore we can never forget their sacrifice and their service. We must never forget the debt of gratitude that we owe our veterans for the freedoms we enjoy that they have granted to us. We can never forget that it is our veterans who have paid the price to ensure our freedom and our way of life. We pray, God, that you watch over our veterans, protect them and our armed service members as we gather here together today to mark Veterans Day. We pray that we remember that it is our job to watch over them as well, and let us say, Amen.
Please be seated. Before we go too much further, I'd like to take a moment and thank our police officers that are here today. They've retired. And all of our firefighters that are here today. You know, we take them for granted every day, and they protect our town just like our veterans protected our country. And today, I'd like to take a special moment, and I think I just knocked your clip off. Because they're in harm's way every day. And I'd like to take a moment on their behalf and recognize firefighter Patrick Brady, who died the night before last while on duty, fighting fires and saving lives. So we salute you. And if we could take a moment of silence for him. Thank you. Now we have these service flags. We normally bring them in, but the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, we didn't want them to blow away or get lost in the snow. So we're going to just have them stand there, and we'll play the representative branches songs as we go through. And you may recognize some of them. This is the Air Force. United States Army. Go Navy, Rabbi pal. Marine Corps. Merchant Marine. Again, the Air Force. So, and my partners that are normally here today, Bill Aguilar couldn't be here. He's recovering in the hospital from surgery. Ephraim's recovering. And Beverly's in going down this class or coming from class on the other. So I'm here, and which makes it even better. It's a little colder. So, but again, I want to thank everybody for coming out on this cold day. And it's kind of, Joe Lucchese said it earlier, it's kind of representative of what our veterans go through on a regular basis, serving personnel. And the flags that are here, these military branch flags, they were donated by the Elmsford Little League, and we like to always recall that in honor of Michael Arciola, who was killed in action in Operation Iraqi Freedom in 2005, so 20 years ago, and these flags remember him, and we do that. A special thanks to these Cub Scouts and Girl Scouts that are here with us today, just recognizing our veterans. So you all can come away from those cold flags and come on down under the tent with everybody else, all right? And a special thank you to the Girl Scouts of the Hudsons. We've been delivering Girl Scout cookies this week, and veterans at home have been getting them, and we've been getting them. And one of the Girl Scout troops missed Mary Jane Shimsky and I the other day. And as I was walking out of a facility, they gave me a call and said, we have a couple of bags. And I said, okay. And they had 45 bags of cookies. And so, you know, they're up to almost 2 million boxes of cookies, our girls. So that's a lot. So we're going to have a couple of remarks. And, you know, if you go too long and you see people are waving at you, right? Not me. But I'd like to start off. We're going to ask a few people to sit all the way down the line. And, you know, at the dinner, I watched the video at the dinner. And I'm getting, people always want to make sure I get everybody, all right? So at the end, if I've left anybody out, we'll pull you up. But I think I got people here. So without further ado, Town Supervisor Paul Feiner, our host. Paul.
I'd just like to thank you for inviting me. And I'd like to thank everybody for participating in this important ceremony. It's so important to remember the contributions of our veterans. And I hope that everybody, if you live in Greenburgh and you have cable, you watch some of our 150 living history interviews with veterans of World War II and the Korean conflict. We started the series probably 15 years ago or 20 years ago, and sadly some of the veterans no longer are alive, but you'll really appreciate their contributions, and we're free and could express ourselves and yell at the government because of them. So democracy is strong because of our veterans, and we thank you. That was my abbreviated speech.
That was great. That's a good way to start. And people only yell at government when there's nothing good on Jeopardy anymore, you know? And council, let's start with our council members. Francis Sheehan. Francis was here. He was covered with snow earlier.
First, I want to thank Ken Jones for loaning me these gloves. It's rather uncomfortable today, but as I said to you when I got here, this is a great example of what veterans experienced, and they probably didn't have, the clothing that we have, and foxholes and other situations where they had to endure much more than what we're enduring today. It's important for us to remember our veterans. My father was a veteran of World War II. He never spoke about it, but he made sure that every Memorial Day we found a monument to go to visit the veterans. And on Veterans Day, I did the same for my children, one of whom is here, and now our grandchildren, two of which were up there with the flags. It's important that we instill in our children the awareness of how we get to live here today with our freedoms. And that's only done through the sacrifices of our veterans. And we thank them, and we have to continue to thank them and recognize them. This is not like the days when people came back from Vietnam and there was no real recognition. That was so wrong, but this is so right, and we need to continue it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ellen Hendricks.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out to honor these wonderful veterans who are here, who are also supporting all of us. To just play on what my fellow councilman Francis Sheehan said, I've had the honor of meeting veterans who have served. I also had the honor recently of meeting a group of young people, juniors in high school, who wish to attend service academies. Their dedication and their desire to serve our country is something to behold. So our children are growing up, and as long as we continue to teach them how to value our country just as our veterans did, and want to protect us just as these young people would like to do, we are very fortunate to live in this democracy. Thank you. Happy Veterans Day.
Gina's away today, but she said to welcome us well and wish everybody joy. Joy is tied up. Next lady is, she actually called and just wanted to make sure. She says, it's kind of cold out today. So Town Clerk Lisa Marie Nero with today's forecast. It's a little cold out. She left out the part about the snow.
Oh my gosh, I love you. Greetings, my name is Lisa Maria Nero. I proudly serve as your town clerk. And yes, I just wanted to make sure that we were all gathering here to again salute these brave and heroic individuals. I'm so glad that you had mentioned, Supervisor, about honoring them. I will now bring to the Greenburgh Black History Museum initiative to have any Greenburgh veterans honored in our panels, and I just want to thank you for that, because that's very important that we recognize everyone, and as well as my father, who served in both the Army and the Air Force. And again, I'm bringing you greetings from my office, and again, just saluting these gentlemen. Thank you so much.
And you know, I know the firefighters back there, they're saying, what snow? It's a nice day out here. It's not raining, it's not pouring. So, you know, every once in a while I learn something new. I've been introducing this lady for quite a long time. And I didn't realize that she had a hidden skill until we did a fun community food bank thing over at ShopRite. And I'd like to take this minute to introduce one of the star baggers that day. And she didn't break anything. And so it's a pleasure to introduce Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins, working at register number 12.
You are funny. See, now I know why you say I love you. Oh, wow. Yes, well, that just goes to show that there is nothing that we will not do in order to support community. And again, thank you for hosting this particular veteran celebration. And I really want to thank you for hosting it at 2, because there were about 20, and I know all my colleagues are saying 20 different celebrations at 11, 11, at 11. And we understand why, but everyone can't be everywhere. So the fact that we are here at 2 o'clock allows us to really be here, be present for as long as we can, and certainly to honor the veterans who have sacrificed for all of us in every way. I was listening to the supervisor. I think I was interviewed on behalf of my father, who was a World War II veteran, Purple Heart, Bronze Star, who served, as I always say, in a segregated army, came back to a segregated nation, but was proud every day of his service, although, like Francis, he didn't talk about it, they didn't talk about it. They just were about it. And every bit of his sacrifice is what I acknowledge every day in my role, which would have been unforeseen back then, and the roles of so many of my colleagues, all of whom are here celebrating democracy because people cared enough to don that uniform and fight for the right of all of us to partake in this great nation. So I am grateful to my veterans. My brother's also a Vietnam veteran, but I'm sure all of us have families that reflect that valor, and we are honored to be able to be their legacy and to support this generation of veterans and the next to maintain our democracy. Thank you so very much.
The next lady I'm going to introduce, every time I call her office or I quit her on the phone and I mention what we're going to do, she never cringes at all. And she's always showing up. And we had the privilege, we went and we recognized our veterans at the Brightview Assisted Living Facility on Sunday. And we were pretty surprised when this gentleman started talking to us, and he was a World War II B-17 bombardier. It had to be over 100, and he was just as clear. And he started out with, "You have my story recorded at Town Hall." And what a joy, what a joy. And then there was some Korea guys and Vietnam people. And so I'd like to introduce the bagger from aisle number 9, cashier 9, Assemblywoman Mary Jane Shinsky, who made a point to say it, Hugh, don't put the eggs on the bottom, you know?
And honoring his time of service in the Navy, Hugh is sporting a lovely pea coat today. You know, I think everyone here, but maybe not everyone who's watching on television, knows the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Memorial Day is when we honor those who sacrificed their lives in service of their country. Veterans Day is the day we talk about the people who made it home. Now, when you think about it, there are lots of similarities. They went through the same training. They had the same lifestyle encumbrances. They ate the same wonderful cuisine. They slept in the same barracks with dozens of people who were not their closest friends. They had to go where they were ordered to go, do what they were ordered to do. And that, of course, is something that we look at, especially some of our younger people, and think about how much of a sacrifice that is. And that was a sacrifice for everyone. And the other thing to keep in mind is once you put on the uniform, you are accepting at least the theoretical possibility that you may become one of those people who are honored on Veterans Day. You don't know when you first go in which pot you're going to be in, the Veterans Day pot or the Memorial Day pot, but the willingness to serve and take the risk is something we have to remember as well. Thank you very much to all of you. Those of us in government have certain responsibilities to you, and we do our best to keep them, and we promise we always will. Number one, we won't bring the country into war where we're creating more people to remember on Memorial Day unless there's a really, really, really good reason for it. Second of all, at such time as you come home, we will take care of you and your families because that's the least we can do in return. And third of all, we promise to do our best to keep freedom and hope and democracy alive at home because that is what you assume the risk for. So thank you to all of you for your service, and hopefully the wind will stay died down and you'll get a chance to enjoy your cookies. Thank you.
And now, the cashier from aisle number 9, David Imamura, who is also at our Feed the Hungry campaign over at ShopRite. So David, thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for always being there with us.
Thank you, Hugh. So my distinct memory of being at ShopRite was I was desperately fumbling to put things in the bag, and Hugh jumped in and said, he may be a terrible bagger, but he's an excellent legislator. And I was like, thank you, Hugh. And thank you to the town of Greenburgh for having a tent today, having been in Hastings earlier when it was really snowing and there was no tent, and I had a half-inch of snow at me at the end. My dear appreciation to the town of Greenburgh. But as Town Councilman Sheehan said, right, this ain't nothing compared to what our veterans faced. How cold was it at Valley Forge? How much did it snow during the Battle of the Bulge? You read these stories of George Washington, on a boat at the Battle of Trenton, getting ready to surprise the British, sailing across the river, pushing ice out of the way of the boats of his soldiers to surprise the British, to win a battle that was one of the major turning points in the war, right? And so it is important to recognize and thank our veterans. America is unique in that we are a country founded not on an ethnic group, not on a religion, but an idea, of a belief in democracy. And all you need to do to be an American is have that belief. But these veterans, they put everything on the line for that idea. So we thank our veterans for having faith in America. And we join you in hopefully ensuring that we continue that faith and continue to create and maintain that idea that is America. Thank you so much.
Jewel. And last but not least, and I don't know in the protocols, I probably, you know, some people say you should go first, you should go, you know, but this guy's always been there, and like since I was 12 years old, and he's always with us, and well, I'm glad you finally got that. I mean, that one just went away, but since I was a young guy, and it is a real honor and a privilege to introduce our U.S. Congressman. Give it up for George Latimer. George.
Thank you, Sonny. It's good to see these young people leading us forward to the next generation. Let me apologize to Andrea and to Mary Jane and to David. I was not a bag man, but they obviously did a great job of bagging. So I'll try to, work my way up to that for next year. Let me give you greetings not only on my own behalf, but also our county executive, Ken Jenkins, cannot be here. He's overseas right now, but I know were he here, he'd be here as well to be with the rest of us here and enjoy this special moment. This is the month of November, in case you didn't know. And November is the month of my birthday. I'll be 104 this year. But the bottom line is that I've always had a special place in my heart for November because I consider it the month of the greatest American celebrations. In a couple of weeks, we're going to be sitting around the table with our family for Thanksgiving and giving thanks no matter what our religious traditions may be. We're going to give thanks for the good things that have happened in our life. And we're New Yorkers, we complain about everything. But when we step back and look and we realize how much we have to be thankful for, we set aside at least one day every year for us to do that. We had the American, not always looks like a celebration given the TV ads, but we had the celebration of Election Day. And for as ugly as our election days can be, those of us in public office have all gone through more than one of them. Consider there's no real election day in Russia, there's no election day in North Korea, there's no election day in Iran. So our system, as imperfect and as flawed as it is, still gives people the chance to say, I like what you're doing or I don't like what you're doing. And that's an American thing. And Veterans Day is also an American moment. And it's a moment where we thank the veterans for the things they've said. Everybody has said that, and it sounds like it's just saying something from a cookie cutter. But I think the bottom line for me is that for any of us who are civilians, we just can't ever really know what a veteran goes through. We can't really know what it's like to go through basic training, get all of your hair cut off, to all of a sudden, you're kind of a young guy or girl at high school and everything's kind of cool and fun, and to go through a regimentation, to have a drill sergeant in your face. How many of you remember the movie 40 Years Ago, An Officer and a Gentleman, where Richard Gere was being drilled by Lou Gossett Jr., an Academy Award-winning role, and he was right in his face screaming at him. I looked at that and I thought to myself, that is what everybody in the military goes through, because they have to break you down in order to make you back up to be the military person that this country needs. And all of the men and women, those of you who are here that have served in the military, you've gone through that experience, and the rest of us as civilians have not. So we say thank you, and we mean it, but we really don't know. Only they know. Only Hugh knows what it's like to be shipboard wherever you were. And it's not just that you face conflict. If you face conflict, that's beyond comprehension that you could live or die in a minute's notice. But even if you served in peacetime, you never knew if you were going to be called into service. At any moment in time in the DMZ, at any moment in time when a Russian ship and a United States ship met each other out in the open Atlantic, anything could have happened, and you faced that. Hugh and all of you faced that. And that's where the depth of our thanks comes from. A little later today, I'm going to get in my car, and I'm going to drive south. There was a time when I'd drive north to join Andrea in Albany. There was a time when I would drive over to the county office building fairly recently to join David and Jewel. But now I have to drive 225 miles south. And it's a long, it's not a terrible drive, it's a long drive. And I'll be driving by myself and I'll be thinking. And I'll be thinking about what I'm going to see when I get to the House of Representatives in this moment. And what I'm going to remember is these men standing here. I'm going to remember these veterans who served and remind myself This is what America is. It isn't the formality of the House of Representatives and the motions and the partisan stuff. It's what I see here today in DeSanti Plaza in Hartsdale.
Thank you, George. You know, I like to take a moment and the tent is nice, but it's our breakfast for our veterans, it's our dinners for our veterans, or it's our adaptive tennis, it's our horseback programs, it's all of that. And it's Joe Lucchese and the recreation team that puts all this together for us. And so I saw Noelle, she's around here, oh yeah, she's bundled up. I only see her forehead. And Joe, so thank you, Commissioner, and thank you, Noelle. And I would be remiss, the flags that normally flag, the American flags up here, we take one down for ceremonial purposes, but when the two flags normally fly, they were from the Capitol, and we leave them up there full-time. They're in honor of Major John Daskos, our committee members. Major John Daskos, Sergeant William Hannibal Robinson, Lieutenant Colonel Malcolm Schreier, and Petty Officer Carmine D. Pasquale. And the one thing that they all had in common was their mission in life to save lives, veterans' lives and the lives of their comrades. So that's why we take that moment just to think of them. As George said, this world's not perfect. It's not. Nothing's perfect. Well, my wife's cooking is perfect. Okay? I just want, Terrence, let's go nice and clear now. My wife's cooking is perfect. Nothing's perfect. But as I asked our veterans, our older veterans the last couple of days, what did they think? They all love this country. They love it. And it's the best country in the world. And we're so grateful for it. And I haven't met a veteran that would not serve his country or her country again. It's a blessing. Now we're going to go to the most solemn part of our ceremony. We're going to have the color guard do a gun salute, and we recognize our fallen comrades with taps. So if you're able, please stand.
Salute.
And now I'll ask Rabbi Pell to come up for a closing benediction.
Thank you, Hugh. I'll offer two quick reflections and a closing blessing. The first quick reflection is that, I think the thing that we all say when we meet veterans is thank you for your service. And most veterans say, I'm honored. If I say that, often people, if they know I'm a rabbi, they'll say, Rabbi, thank you, but we don't really need your prayers. Give it to the guys who are serving now. And so I'll share with you a closing prayer written on behalf of our armed service members But I will tell you that it is a more personal prayer than it might otherwise have been. It was written by a rabbi named Jerry Skolnick from Queens, New York, who was always kind of satisfied with the prayer in the Jewish prayer book until his son-in-law joined the Navy and became a chaplain serving right now on an aircraft carrier overseas. Just like it is with our firemen, with our police officers, when you know people personally, it becomes a little different. And he rewrote this prayer in that way. Ribono Shel Olam, sovereign of the universe, we invoke the full bounty of your blessings upon the members of our American military forces, those brave men and women whose courage and commitment to that for which this country stands protects us all. Whether stationed here at home or deployed by air, land, or sea, to wherever their orders take them around the world, so often in harm's way, we ask, dear God, that they be protected within your sheltering presence. And may you sustain them, shield them from harm, from pain, assuage their loneliness, sustain their faith in the face of the formidable challenges that they face. Please provide them comfort in the face of their enemies on a daily basis. May all their efforts be crowned with victory and the assurance that we, who depend on their courage, appreciate and understand the great difficulty and sacrifice of their work. Most of all, we pray what is our heartfelt prayer and the heartfelt hope of all military personnel, that they be privileged to return to the arms of their loving families, whole, safely, speedily, and in good health. In your mercy, be with those who await the return of their deployed service members serving overseas at this time. May our beloved country tend to their emotional and physical well-being long after they have served, long after they have left active service, and long after their service has been completed. And may they never feel forgotten by those whose liberty they have stood to protect. Because of their courage, may we all be privileged to know and savor the blessings of true peace and security. And let us say, Amen. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, everyone. That's it. And we're also going to be at the Chelsea in a little while to recognize the veterans at the Chelsea on Dobbs Ferry Road. So thank you all for coming in the cold weather today. And we'll see you when we see you. Thank you. Thank you again.